This is terrifying. I had a really weird experience when I was traveling through Europe last year. I was in Prague at the time, and I was staying in an Airbnb that was about a 20 to 25-minute walk from the train station. But the very first night I was there, I decided to go check out the city, so I grabbed my things and I headed out. It was like 9 p.m., maybe 10 p.m., and the place was pretty dead. Like no one was outside. The shops were all closed, stuff like that. So I'm walking around this creepy neighborhood and I'm starting to get a little bit scared. Because I do want to know where I am, I don't know where I'm going, and it's just like super dark and creepy. And I start hearing these footsteps behind me. I could hear them getting closer and closer, but I couldn't see anyone. So finally, I turn around to look and there's no one there. But then, I keep hearing these footsteps. So I start running and I'm like trying to find where the sound is coming from, but I can't find anyone. I'm pretty sure it was untamed me, because I've never been able to move that fast in my life. And then I just remember thinking, why would someone be chasing me? Why would someone be trying to follow me? And then I started to think, maybe it's not a person. Maybe it's something more sinister. And then I came across this bridge, which I have actually drawn a picture of before. This bridge goes over a canal, but it was totally dark. You couldn't see anything. And I started to run across the bridge, and then I stopped because I could hear the footsteps stop as well. And then I could hear them again starting from the other side of the bridge, like they were coming towards me again. And this is when I started to freak out. I turned around and looked, but there was nothing there. I'm trying to convince myself it's not a ghost. It's not some evil spirit that's haunting me. And I start to turn away again. But then I see this figure in the distance that starts to walk towards me. And I can't tell if it's a man or a woman, if it's young, if it's old. I don't know who it is. All I know is that I am frozen in place with fear. And as this person gets closer and closer, I can hear their breathing. They're breathing heavily, like they're exhausted. And I'm wondering, are they following me? Are they trying to kill me? And then they get even closer and closer until they right up on me, and I scream and I swing and I try to, hit them in the face or something. And I knock them over the bridge. And then I run away as fast as I can. I ran all the way back to the apartment. I didn't stop. I didn't look back. I didn't want to know what was down there. I got home safe and sound, and I locked the door, and I was shaking for a while. I told my friend what happened. She thought it was hilarious. But then I never saw that ghost again. Every single time after that I walked past that bridge, I would hear those footsteps. But I would never see anyone. It was always just the footsteps. And then I would hear them stop once I passed the bridge. And I thought, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I did imagine this whole thing. But then, whenever I went back to that bridge, the same thing would happen. And I still to this day have no idea what those footsteps were. Have you ever experienced something similar? Let me know in the comments below. I also drew a picture of the ghost I saw. Now let's sketch. Okay, so I started off by doing a very rough sketch of my interpretation of the ghost. I went ahead and added some basic shapes and lines to show the general flow and direction of the body. I wanted to capture the essence of the ghost, which I only got a quick glimpse of. I thought it was important to focus on the overall feel rather than adding too many detail. Next, I began to fill in some of the negative spaces, paying attention to how the shapes and lines created a sense of movement and direction. This allowed me to add some depth and dimension to the sketch without going into too much detail. I wanted to keep the sketch relatively simple, but also convey a sense of unease and mystery. Finally, I added some finishing touches, such as adjusting some of the line weights and adding some light shading to give the sketch a more polished look. I wanted to keep the focus on the overall composition and the feeling that I wanted to convey, rather than getting lost in the details. Okay, now I'm going to finish the drawing and add some color. Okay, so for the background, I used a technique called wet trees. I mixed some dark greens and some purples and some blues and some blacks together, and I just sort of smudged them onto the page. I didn't worry about any kind of detail or realism. I just wanted to create a wash of color that would set the mood for the drawing. Then I started to fill in the ghost itself. I'm using some lighter colors, some grays and some purples, and I'm trying to create a sense of movement and direction. Again, I'm not worried about details here. I'm just trying to capture the essence of the ghost and its interaction with the environment. I added a bit of red to the background to represent the blood that was dripping from my hand after I knocked the ghost into the water. Then I added a few more finishing touches. I added some white lines throughout the drawing to represent the footsteps that I heard. I also added some splatters of red and some darker shadows underneath the ghost to give it a more sinister feel. Overall, I wanted to create a drawing that captured the eerie and mysterious nature of the experience I had. I wanted the viewer to feel a sense of unease and wonder what might be lurking in the shadows. If you liked this story, please make sure to subscribe. I would love to reach 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day and goodbye.